Hey, this is Uncle Mark in the mothership with a RC30 dual track looper. And I'm going to show you what I can do on this. And this is the looper that I use. And so this is kind of a lesson on how to use this looper. This is the best one. I really like this. So let me just do a phrase and then we'll look at what this thing can actually do. All right, so this is an RC30. This is the Boss RC30. This is my opinion, the best looper out there. You know I'm OCD about keeping boxes, paperwork, the coverage, all the little crap that comes in it. It comes with all kinds of junk. The bag, I even save the batteries. That's the kind of person I am. Because if I don't like it, I know I can resell it. And when it says box with all paperwork and everything, and people tend to want to purchase it. So I'm going to unplug this thing and we can take a look at it. All right. So it's got a bunch of features on it. It's got two separate pedals. It has two types of loop effects. I don't use, let me see if you can see this. I don't use any of these loop effects. Okay, but it has some loop effects. And you can turn that on and off right down here. It also has two tracks. One is for this side and one is for the other side. And there's volumes on those little faders here. Okay, and the faders have a stop button in between at about 50%. I tend to like mine a little bit lower than that. It took me about a year to figure out to look at these things before I start playing. It's really kind of important. It's got some buttons here that let you know which track you're working on. There's 100 in this thing. It also lets you know where you are within that. It's got some, with these little numbers here, or these little lights, it lets you know which track you're working on. It has has your record, so you know you're recording, and it also has your dub if you're overdubbing or playing. That's that little light there. It also has a mic input, so it's got your mic volume and your what do you call it, phantom power if you're using a different type of mic. It also has a drum machine, a built-in drum machine. I really don't use any of that. I just use it as a pure looper. It also has some wonderful stuff in the back. This is your mic input. There's your on and off with your phantom power if you need phantom power. It's got right and left stereo outs. It's got right and left stereo ins. It has a USB. It has a little auxiliary if you're going to plug your MP3 player in here. It's a computer, way to get into your computer, store your files. It also plugs in right here. And the best thing about this is batteries. This is completely battery powered. So if you had your Cube Street or your Roland Cube or your Boss Cantana, you put 6 batteries in here. At full power, 6 batteries last me a good long time. So probably 5-6 hours, maybe longer. I've just never played them have had this thing played that long outside, busking with it, but and it tells you all about this crap and stuff that's in it. So I just remember a few things. I just remember that when I plug in my guitar, it goes into the second one over. And I know that my output is the second one from the end. You can hear that. You can hear my amp, right? And then I know that this plugs in here and it comes from the power source. And this is what it looks like when it's plugged in. 11, I have some stored phrases on the memory. So the way this thing works is you're playing, you press down on this and you can see the light. That means it's recording. When you stop, okay, this light down here means you have something in the phrase, okay? There's data right here. This light here tells you there's data and you can play it. So if you want to play it, you press down, you're there. You're playing, you're not recording. Okay? You hit it twice, you're playing, not recording. You hit it once and you're re-recording over your stuff. So you're dubbing. Something to really think about when you're doing this stuff. To stop it, you just hit stop, and to erase it, you hit the stop and you hit. So you hit the stop and the play, okay? And sometimes you get started on this drum machine, and it's totally happens to me a lot where I get confused, and it's taken me years to figure out how to not do the drum machine. So if that's something that bothers you, but to turn on the drum machine, it's right there, the on off. And you can tap tempo the drum machine. You can go 1, 2, 3, 4, off. And if you want it to start, then how did I do that? There's a way to make it so it starts at the time you hit your record. And I'm really not sure how to do it, and I don't really care. I turn the drum machine down to 0, and I don't use it as a drum machine at all. I just don't need a drum machine. I create my own rhythms playing, but you may want to fool around with that. But what I do with this thing, so I always keep it, there's a slot, I keep it low. I'm always on the first, right? I don't want any of this over here. All I want it to do is recreate a phrase. And that's all I want this machine to do. So if I go, so when you start one of these for the first time, pick something very simple like, hit it on the down. Hit it on the down. Okay? When you're learning how to play with a looper, keep it really simple. And in fact, I keep it very simple. I don't do any boogie-woogie rhythms on it. I can, but I don't. I tend to keep it as simple, absolutely as simple as I can. And most jams in jam songs are just a few things. So like Riders on the Storm, you know, is a... So I tend to try to keep things very, very simple. And you can get very complicated here. You can do things like... another phrase over top of the other one. Now I got two things going on at once. It can get very annoying really fast. But I just wanted to show you this and the things I do with it. Turn it off, and I hit both at the same time, but I hit this one first, then hit that, and it says CL, and that's clear. So that's how I use this looper. I'm going to be doing a lesson on that exact song. I just wanted to show you how I use this machine. You can get really complicated with it. It can be a wonderful tool, or it can be a terrible tool. So if you do buy one, I'm not familiar with the single. I had a single one once and sold it. I had the Jam Man once and I've sold it. I don't know anything about any of the others. These are very expensive. They list for $300. You can get them used for $200 or $225 or $230. They hold their value. This piece here will hold its value. It has a great ROI, which means return on investment. So I've had this now for 5 years. I still have all the paperwork. I could probably sell it for $250. I've only lost 50 in 5 years. That's a really good return on investment because it's made me a bunch of money. It's a really great tool. It can be overused like any other tool. Certain people lean on it a little heavily, but this is a great machine. It is the RC30. Okay, they also have an RC30 XL. I can't imagine it being that much different, but there's the RC30. This is a great tool. If you want to buy a looper that's battery powered, this is the thing to buy. I know they're expensive, I understand, but this is the tool. So I will show you more pedal demos. Wow, and we'll go through that at some point, but this is a great tool and I use it all the time. This is Uncle Mark in the mothership. I do have a PayPal link down below. It's a virtual tip jar. It is a paypal.me/Uncle Mark Tips, and it's down there in the show notes, and you'll see it, and I look forward to making more videos, and we'll see you soon. Thank you so much.